Hello, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Today, I'm going to talk about the newest, the latest, and the greatest that's coming to your stores nearby for all your handheld gaming needs. And this is the second version, or I guess the upgrade, or I guess the brand new uh, Nintendo Switch, the second version. This is the Nintendo Switch 2. I just got this yesterday, and I managed to actually do quite a little bit with it. So I'm going to get to show you my first thoughts on it. Perhaps I might show some gameplay as well, and well, basically tell you whether you should buy this or not. So the very first thing you're going to notice about this thing is the moment you get it out of the box that it's actually quite heavy. Just leaving it in one hand or even in two hands, you can still feel how heavy this console is. And I mean, it's noticeable. It's quite noticeable. I've been using for the past couple of months the ROG Ally X, and compared to that console, this one is, I would say, at least twice heavier as a feeling. I don't know if it's in terms of grams, if it's actually heavier, but it just feels much heavier, and this is partly because of the 8-inch LCD screen that's on this thing. It's not OLED. I guess Nintendo is going to, get extra money for this down the road when they release the upgraded OLED version, the OLED display. But it is heavy, I'm not going to lie to you. Without the Joy-Cons, I don't think the Joy-Cons themselves actually are that heavy. When I remove them from the tablet itself, the screen itself, this is quite lightweight. You can feel that it's heavier at the bottom. I'm guessing this is perhaps where the battery is, so that's the heaviest thing. And I really enjoyed the new way they connect. It's magnets, as you can see here as well. And you can also see the one interesting thing is an optical sensor. There's an optical sensor where my middle finger is currently. This makes it, available as a mouse, and that feature actually works quite well. But I'm gonna get down to that later down the road. You can see it snaps very easily. You press this button here. I don't know if it's visible, to unsnap it, and it unsnaps quickly. And then you just press it back in, and here it is. So it has a really nice kickstand at the back. It's quite lightweight. You're gonna feel like you're breaking it basically every time you're gonna use it, but it goes pretty high up. I mean, that thing just goes as high as you would like to go. I mean, if you're into that type of thing, I guess it's pretty. It is metal as far as I can feel it. I think it's metal, so it shouldn't break. Is that fucking thing metal? It might have some metal inside of it. But it is nice. I haven't had any issues using the stand. It still feels very lightweight and easily breakable, but at least feels like perhaps some metal. So the screen itself, 8 inches, it's not bad at all. I'm actually gonna get to a maximum brightness now. I don't know if that's gonna be visible in terms of the video itself, but as you can see, this. So yeah, as you can see, it is quite reflective, this little thing. And you can see basically my camera setup, everything in the screen. This is how reflective the surface is. But anyway, here I am playing a little bit of Hogwarts Legacy. It's almost impossible with this kind of reflection to give you any good, video. So the screen in this thing is actually quite reflective, I'm not gonna lie to you. I have it on maximum brightness, and that thing is reflecting like crazy anything that you can see. Now, in terms of brightness, I would say it's bright enough for maybe not outdoor use, but certainly here where I've turned on the lights right now, and there's massive amounts of light coming from the all the glass windows that I have on the other side of the current position where I am. It's completely visible. You can completely enjoy it. It's not that bad at all. There are a couple of things I really want to mention quickly with this console in terms of, well, is it that much different than the first iteration of the Switch? And the thing is, yes and no. For a couple of reasons. First of all, I want to talk about battery life on this thing. So I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy since yesterday, and I'm still kind of early on. But I went for a base test today to see how much of the battery is going to survive as I'm playing the game. Now I tested on full screen brightness because that's how I usually would like to play. Some other people might not enjoy it like this, or might just decrease the brightness to get better battery life. But what I managed to test is for about 50 minutes of Hogwarts Legacy that I played, I lost about 40% battery life. Now, this, take it however you want, is not great. We are talking about less than an hour of gameplay at full screen brightness and losing 40% of the battery. I was at 100%, I was down to 60% after about 50 minutes of gameplay of Hogwarts Legacy. So, just doing the basic math, you will be able to get anywhere maybe over 2 hours and 15, 20 minutes, something like that, the battery life on this console if you're playing on screen brightness maximum, and of course if you're playing a very demanding game such as Hogwarts Legacy. Although I don't know if this is considered the pinnacle of demanding game, maybe because of its open world. Otherwise, this game is now 2 years old, so I don't think we can now have it as a base set for really great graphics or anything like that. Another thing, and you're going to see this in the gameplay videos, is the power of the processing unit. You know, the CPU and the GPU, you know, the integrated graphics card, and of course the processor. It's a custom NVIDIA processor, just like the first console. And what I have to say about this feels exactly like the Switch 1 was. It feels like it's already outdated, and I'm gonna get into it right now. So I've been watching gameplay videos because I never played Hogwarts Legacy on the first console. I didn't feel like buying the game just for the first console because I knew I was not going to get a great experience. So I was like, nah, this is not how I'm gonna be enjoying the game. But now since I got the second one, I was like, I'm gonna buy it. And just a quick side note, the version that I bought cost €60. Now, currently the game costs the same on Steam Store, but there is plenty of ways to get, you know, discounts on the PC side of things, and until recently it was much cheaper than that. So, you know, I don't know if they've like readjusted the price for this specific game because of Steam right now, or because this console is launching recently, so they decided to give this sort of as a graphical fidelity test on the new console, so they bumped this up to $60, which for a Switch version of the game. And you're gonna say, what do you mean a Switch version of the game? It's the same game as a PC, right? Nope. No, it's not. I mean, it is, in terms of game data, in terms of gameplay, this same game, but paying $60 for something that just doesn't run that great, even on the Switch 2, and something that I just feel is a much low setting resolution type of thing on the Switch 2 compared to, you know, something like the ROG Ally, where I can, if I want, bump down the screen resolution but get a better graphical preset. And with certain technologies like AMD's, you know, AMD's or Nvidia's or Intel's technologies that kind of produce frame generation and things like that, you can get a much better graphical option at the end. Now, what I noticed with Hogwarts Legacy 2 is that while I was watching other clips of the game, yeah, it seems to look exactly like the Switch 1 version, with the same. As I was just exploring outside of Hogwarts the very first time, I saw the same pop-ins. I saw the distance in which you could see game objects not being that far away. They were pretty close to me. I just moved a little, and you can see all of the grass just kind of appearing all of a sudden. So that's a major not cool factor at all. So there are of course pop-ins. There are some textures that I saw getting loaded as well on the Switch 2 version. Now on the Switch 1 version, this was incredibly painful from what I've seen from gameplay videos, especially if you're rolling into a new area and it'll take like 15, 16, 20 seconds for textures to pop in. But don't get me wrong, I've seen this happen on the Switch 2 as well. Perhaps not so bad in terms of they weren't completely loaded, but you can see places because I was so focused on the grass, and all of a sudden I just saw something like flicker on my screen. Everyone was like, fuck, the graphics just got intensely much better than just a second ago. And I was like, yeah, textures popped in here as well, not just in terms of objects not being, you know, that far away from you, so they just jump in the way, but also just mud textures, wall textures, whatever you want to, you know, say texture-wise. So there is that. Now, in terms of loading times, that has been reduced compared to the original Switch 1 version of the game, but I still, and I am going to showcase this, saw multiple times where I was going from one section of the castle to another section of the castle, where it will take 6, 7 to 8 seconds of the doors, you know, loading until it gets you to a new area. And that's enough time for you to think is, oh my god, is this door not openable? Am I supposed to be going the right way? Even though I'm seeing that the quest navigation marker is showing me that this is the way. But because I hadn't seen any previous gameplay videos of the Switch 1 version running, I was like, perhaps this is not how you're supposed to tackle this. So I would wait 5 seconds, I would turn around, I would go somewhere, and I'm like, maybe there's another door or something, then turn back around, and I'm like, no, this is the way. Go back, wait another 6-7 seconds, and see, oh, the door is opening. And I'm like, oh, this is the way, it's just loading. So, I mean, it's improved compared to maybe 16-17 seconds that you would wait on the Switch 1 version, but you're still going to wait at some specific locations. Now, some doors, this is the interesting part. Some doors, you go up to them, they open like almost instantly. So I don't know what areas of the castle exactly how these things are working out. I'm going to showcase this in videos, but it's clear that at some locations it takes a lot longer to load the game, and in other locations it takes a lot faster to load the game. This could have been the same in the Switch 1 version, but I'm just saying it just doesn't feel like that much of an improvement. Now, of course, you also have to know that the Switch is also using a lot of technology, to get a stable 30 frames per second frame rate. It's not 60, I'm completely sure of that. I can tell, I don't even have to do any special sorts of tests to see how well this runs. You can tell 60 apart from 30, and this thing is running at 30 FPS. Now, about the resolution, I think as well something's going on with the Switch 2 version where it's, for certain areas, it might just be downgrading. Well, it's downgrading for Full HD, I'm not completely sure. This will have to be specially tested, but you can see some downgrading happening. This is not, I just don't feel like this is running constantly at 180p or anything like that. There are places where you're going to notice some sort of difference. And the other thing is, with all the technology that's running around to get this as a stable 30 frames per second, you're going to see a lot of artifacting. You're going to see jagged edges on characters sometimes, especially near the hair. If even in cutscenes, when you're looking at the characters talking, you're looking at their hair, Jesus Christ, that just looks fucking awful at some points. I've honestly just spent the entire cutscene, just watching Professor Fig's hair and how bad the artifacting, just my character, because I specifically chose a hairstyle to kind of like see where this would be an issue, because I saw this in the Switch 1 version as well. I don't know how this is on PC. I just noticed, oh my god, all this artifact around the hair, it just looks terrible. It almost looks pixelized in places. It just looks like you're playing an 8-bit game or something. It just, I don't know. It's not great. This I would say, I don't know, compared to the PC version of the game, what kind of graphical setting this is set to. But I would say this is somewhere maybe medium, maybe less. I would say personally, because some of the reflections, I don't know if this game supports ray tracing or anything like that, but some of the reflections you see on water and other places, marble floors around the castle, just not great at all. Like, awful, I would say. I could take it or leave it without the reflections anyway. They don't look great, so if there's an option to completely turn them off, I would probably prefer that, considering just watching these horrible reflections, especially in water and the marble floors that I noticed in the castle. So just take it as you much, but that's just not great. Now, we've talked about the game that I've tested, but here's something else in terms of performance as well. So something that really used to bother me on the first version of the Switch was the loading of the shop where you buy games, the electronic shop, the eShop. So, as you know, when you get into the first Switch and you try to buy games digitally, you know that the store would load very slowly. Also, there will be multiple issues with refreshing of new titles that you just want to load at the bottom of the screen. Many times, it would not showcase for a while a default, an image for the game that you want to, observe, purchase, whatever. And, this was definitely not just due to internet, though probably that has something to do with it as well, but you just think it'd be the processing power of the device. It's just not handling the store well. Maybe the optimizations are not great for the device, I don't know. But on the Switch 2, I've noticed not exactly the same issue. Like, I don't see any of the title images not loading, but I've seen the same thing happen. You reach the bottom of the screen. Last time I did that for, all the special offers currently available, because I was thinking of buying a couple of games, just trying it out, that were on sale, nothing really new. So I go to the bottom of the screen, I'm thinking, okay, these are all the games that are currently on sale, it's fine, I've seen a lot of games, I'm gonna buy a couple of these. And as I was thinking this, I was wondering, which way to go back and see which game I would pick up currently. And I see, instantly pops at the bottom another 50 games, and I'm like, oh, it's the same. Now, this, I can't say it happens only on the Switch. If you own a PlayStation 5 and you're using the store on the PlayStation 5, there is some slowdowns there as well. I still think that's 10 times faster than I saw both on the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, because I'm telling you, this might have been for more than 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds, where nothing would load at the bottom after I thought I had reached the final game, and all of a sudden, it pops. And it loads another 40 games down there, and I'm like, fuck, I thought that was the end. I was going to click back, and that time I was like, oh, I've seen them, oh, I'm not sure yet, I'm gonna see what I'm going to pick. I was gonna click back, and then just it popped, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, this doesn't feel great at all. Another thing I don't know what to say about this is the speakers. So, from what I can tell, you have two bottom firing speakers here and here near the one of the USB ports, because there is, of course, another USB port on top. Nintendo actually fixed this, which is kind of nice. So now you can charge the console from the top, connect accessories from the top. You can also charge it from the bottom and connect accessories from the bottom. But these two speakers, they're not loud. They're not gonna give you very satisfactory gameplay. I don't know what I would rate this in terms of wattage, but it feels almost like a 1 watt speaker. I've had back in the day, I've had like the LG G5 and something like that. I feel like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I've seen that thing like get louder than these two separate firing speakers on the Switch 2. You know, this is something I really can't, make too much of a fuss about, because I have the Ally, the ROG Ally, as I've told you already, and there the speakers are also not very loud. I would compare them to this. It feels like it's the same level of volume. It's the same level of sound and quality overall. I would say that maybe these sound just a little bit fuller in terms of speakers compared to something like the Ally, but they're just not as loud as they should be. If you want to really enjoy a game, you'd have to either plug it to a TV. If you are more of a audiophile, a sound freak, I guess, you would have to plug this into a TV and use the TV speakers or a sound bar or something like that, or of course, headset of any sort. But if you really want to enjoy it, even in a quiet room, even if I have like not even the air conditioning running or anything, I will not say that this is a truly a great sound experience at all. Now, the other thing is the rumble feature. I don't know if it's just me, compared to the last console, but I just feel like, I don't know why, I feel like on the original Switch, I could feel the rumble louder. It just felt better to me personally. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm telling you, it just felt louder. I put up the Switch One yesterday, and I was trying to get to play with it a little, and just on this console, it just doesn't feel. I don't know. It just feels emptier somehow. I don't know. It has less of an impact, and I don't know why. I'm not getting the same feedback, I guess, that I was hoping to get on the Rumble side of things compared to the Switch One. The Switch One to me, I feel like was better. Now, in terms of the Joy-Cons, I like them. I mean, they're quite comfortable to hand, even just by themselves on the console, especially. It's very nice. I love the new optical image sensor here that you can use for mouse activity. You just place that thing anywhere. You don't even need. They say it's better to have the straps connected to this thing to use it as a mouse. This is not true. I actually found it completely working fine, actually quite decently. When I don't use the straps, just place it here on the table and just, move it around. Now, probably not on this table that I'm currently on, but on other tables. I even tested it even on my bed. I was playing last night in my bed, and I even tested on the bed, and this shit works. It works quite well. So, the Joy-Cons have been improved in terms of them being a mouse. So this is amazing. I like the overall feel. I like everything about the Joy-Cons, except for the rumble feature, but everything else is quite good. The new locking mechanism, the optical sensor for the mouse, the new buttons, the SL and the SR buttons here on the top, which you can feel that they're much larger. This you can actually play. You can actually play this thing. You just press these and just play whatever you like. It's much better. The whole thumb, basically my whole finger can be the size of one of these buttons. So this is what you would like. But I can't complain much more about the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons are quite great. Now the screen, another thing I want to mention is that apparently it scratches very easily. I've watched this in a couple of people's videos. like test it, and you can see the screen because it has like a layer of plastic on top. The plastic layer is incredibly easy to scratch. I don't know why Nintendo, they've been saying they're gonna do it because they want to prevent shattering of the screen. I mean, okay, still absolutely everything can scratch this apparently. So I've been really worried about that, and because at the PlayStation Guide too they didn't have a screen protector right away, I ordered one online and I'm still waiting for it to come like in 2 days, which is the fastest they can ship it to me. And until then, every time I've been using the console and then stopping, the usage of the console, I'm putting it back in its original plastic bag just in case something happens. They just like touch it accidentally and it just shatters the screen or something because from the videos that I've seen, it's incredibly easy to scratch, and this should not be something that happens. I haven't had the same issue or worry when I been using the ROG Ally. I don't have a screen protector on that as well. I don't have any screen protector on that as well. I've never even thought about buying because, as far as I know, it's glass and it hasn't scratched. I haven't seen any scratches when I've been using the thing for like a really long time now, and I've never like been. Oh, I have to be really careful just placing it here on this table. Oh my god, am I going to like and just leave it there and then I have to clear everything apart from it because just the wind can blow it off the table and crack the screen or something like that and scratch the screen just by the wind itself can scratch the screen. With this thing, I am constantly worried it's not gonna survive the day and a half that's left or 2 days that's left for me to get a screen protector, one of those easy install ones because they really suck. So it's gonna have its own frame and easily install it. Just by seeing videos, god damn, it's easy to scratch. But the most important thing to talk about this is the console. Well, I mean, I was hoping that from the Switch 1, Nintendo would do something better with the Switch 2, and not just, better Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons are better, the screen is just a little larger, it's not that I would like jump off a building because it's like an inch and something larger. It's LCD, so it already goes against it. Battery life is not improved anyway if you're playing AAA games, and the processing power just doesn't feel great again. It just feels it's outdated again. That it's launching and it's already not going to be able to support games in like 3 years' time, just like the Switch One. So, with all that, I'm saying the one thing that really bugs me about this, and this is what really bugged me about the Switch One as well, is the support of games. Well, yes, this supports the Switch One games, but the thing about backwards compatibility when we've been talking about any other console is that, when it comes to a PlayStation 5 and you wanted backwards compatibility with the PlayStation 4, or if we're talking about the latest Xbox and the previous Xbox generation, you wanted compatibility there, is that these previous consoles, both the PlayStation, the Xbox, or whatever you want to name it, had a huge selection of games that you would like to play. The Switch 1 doesn't have a huge selection of games, let's be honest. So the Switch 2 launches with a total of one game new. I'm not kidding. I think it's just Mario Kart World is the new game that's on launch with this thing. Everything is something that's already been available. Hogwarts Legacy was available for the Switch 1. Just that now it has graphical tech. It's not even performance improvements, just like 5 seconds faster loading times for €60. I mean, I don't know, guys, just not me on this. But what else is actually launching for you? You're getting the Legend of Zelda versions of both Legend of Zelda games that were available for Switch One now with some graphical and technical improvements. But you also need to, I think you had to pay for them like €10. Like, no. Almost, goddamn, I've heard so many times on PlayStation and other consoles, get the free graphical upgrade, the free graphical, update for this title that make it better looking for the PlayStation 5. Here you have to pay for all this. There are actually a couple of free ones that Nintendo offers, but not on the best games, not on the Legend of Zelda games. And except for Mario Kart World, what other interesting new games is this launching with? And the answer is none. Now, if you're talking about Cyberpunk 2077, that's not a new game. Cyberpunk 2077 has been out for I don't know how many fucking years now. That thing has been played to fucking death. Everybody has played it, everybody's grandma has played it, everybody's grandpa has played it, everybody's dead great grandfather has played it. I'm sorry, but I don't care what you slap on this fucking edition, the Ultimate, the Cyberpunk, the whatever edition you want to play it on, it's still an old game. Now, it's an old game you can actually play fine now on the Switch too, but it's an old game, it's not a new game. The only new game you have here is Mario Kart. There's also Hitman World of Assassination. That's not a new game, that's something that's also, as far as I'm aware, been available for a while. It's just now launching on the Switch 2, but it's not a new game. The Switch 2 is launching with a total of one new game. That's the entire. I mean, yeah, let's be honest about this, guys. When the Wii U launched and it had like that title of games, we thought those games, some of them, of course, not new, but we thought those launch titles were just not enough to cover the launch of the Nintendo Wii U. And I fucking love that console to death. I'm still mad about how things went with the Wii U. I thought it had huge potential, but just remember that back then we were speaking about this is gonna be a failure because it doesn't have enough games, and it was a failure because it didn't have enough games. Nobody wanted to commit to that. And now, if you're looking at anything else, the Nintendo 3DS launched with quite a couple of nice games as well. If I remember, it had like Splinter Cell, it had like Tom Clancy's Shadow Wars, I think it was Ghost Recon Shadow Wars or something like that. It launched with a couple of good games, if I remember correctly. But it did launch with a couple of new games. Now, even the Splinter Cell, you're gonna say it's not a new game, but it was remade. It was made better. It's kind of a cool thing when you were gonna play it. I don't think it's completely a new version of the game, but it was a remastered, remade version. Not even remastered, it was remade if you want to call it that. So everything I can think about the PlayStation 4 had launch titles. If you remember, the PlayStation 4 launched with stuff like Killzone, Shadow. What was it, Shadowfall? I don't remember, but it was a Killzone game, so you had that. You had a couple of other ones. It was a great first-person shooter that gets you instantly in the game, and you would like be able to feel the complete graphical improvements of the console, the hardware, the everything, and you would pay that. So you had that. While here you have Mario Kart World. I don't know, I just don't feel like Mario Kart World is the thing to launch a new console with. I know it's a Nintendo console and Mario Kart is Nintendo property and everything, but is that it? For the PlayStation 5, of course, I also think the PlayStation 5 launched with a small library of games, but they were better games. And the support for the games was great, and PlayStation has been pumping out some pretty fucking great titles in the last couple of years. I mean, things like Horizon Forbidden West and the second iteration of the game that I just don't remember which was Forbidden West, which was the Zero Dawn or whatever it was. I've played both of them, but those were fucking excellent titles. So, or God of War, if you want to speak of God of War Ragnarok and everything like that. So these have been great titles to play over the time, or just the first God of War. I don't remember exactly which God of War launched with the PlayStation 5, but it had better games in terms of launch, and that category of games added up not that slowly. Well, for the Switch 1, I'm still looking at all the games I've bought because this has the ability to play all the Switch 1 games. Of course, I'm looking at all the titles that I've acquired, and I have a lot. I have like probably 60 games that I've acquired on the Switch 1, which to me is a lot because I don't use the console that much. I haven't touched it in months, if I gotta be honest. And prior to yesterday, just kind of a little bit of testing with it. And to be honest, I see that I've bought also a lot of indie titles, a lot of half-baked crap games, because there was nothing else to buy. Like, I wasn't choosing the Switch for any serious gaming. If there was anything that was available on PC and was available on Switch, I would much prefer the PC version because the Switch version would be completely underpowered, less frames, of course horrible graphically. Some of the stuff would, I mean, it just didn't seem a point. And now this is a handheld device itself. If you're gonna be buying only Nintendo games like Mario, yeah, but that feels like it's it. Like, for instance, I was hoping that this would showcase this fucking thing. Nintendo should have been talking to ID Software and should have been talking to Microsoft's publishing, Bethesda Publishing, I'm sorry, and gotten the new Doom game to run on this. I mean, as far as I'm aware, one of the Doom games used to be available on the first Switch. They managed to make it happen. So why wouldn't you launch this thing and get all the deals signed with, for instance, Bethesda Publishing and get the new Doom game on here? It's available on PC, it's available on everywhere. Why doesn't this launch with it? Maybe it's coming down the road, but this should have been on day one to showcase what this fucking thing can do. You're not showcasing the power of this console with Mario Kart World, or maybe you are because it's already over. It's already outdated to me. I just gotta say it. I don't know, for the price of this console, my god, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it has enough. Oh my god, have I already scratched it? Jesus Christ. I think I might have. So I just looked down, I think I might have scratched this fucking thing already. I don't know. Just